All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Daily Dose of Tech. This is the fourth episode of on this topic as well. My name is Nishko, and I have started this channel called Tech with Nishko, where we will be talking and discussing about everything around tech, not specific to any programming language, and also just to give a very brief about this specific playlist and this specific series. This is called Daily Dose of Tech, where my main goal is to come and just speak freely without any script, more of a raw form, and just talk about the topics which I'm interested and come up with a good content out of it, based on the comments with the engagement, what you're liking about the topic or not, anything feedback which you are guys giving it, then I will convert a dedicated playlist on that specific topic. Feel free to suggest any topic that you would like to cover in the next coming videos, and we'll get started. So we have a very specific format of this in this series, where I'll be just speaking about for the next 60 minutes. Although we have already started this video, so I'm gonna start my clock now so that we can cover and maintain the duration as well. So I have started my clock, and as per OBS it's already 1.5 minutes completed, so I'm gonna just put again 48 minutes and I will start from here. All right, so in the third video on this topic, Azure Bicep, I covered few things, and I'm gonna just do a quick recap about it as well, and we'll continue our development work from there. All right, so before starting, I just want you to share that I am available on these all platforms. Wherever you guys want to engage with me, you are free to just ping me. You are always already watching the video on YouTube, so feel free to subscribe, and you can hit the bell icon as well. You will be notified about all my latest and upcoming videos, and I am committed to put one video every single day. That's my challenge, and I have taken it very seriously. I have shared and tell all of my friends as well. Okay, I have an Instagram account as well, where I will be giving a short, some spicy content taken from my YouTube channel as well, so you can follow me that as well. I am on LinkedIn as well. If you want to connect me professionally, you are free to connect me over there as well. I speak about random things on X as well, so you're good to follow me there. If you want to notes and anything, any kind of content that code or something, anything that whatever GitHub is used for, so you can follow me there as well. And the biggest thing is that if you are interested to do live practice or engage on the live content with me on any of the future topics, let's say a mobile development or a web development or data engineering, machine learning, whatever, even if I'm not doing those things, so you are free to join this Discord server. All the links will be in the description, and I'll be super happy to work with the amazing people who are more interested in these deep tech related stuff. Okay, so moving around, feel free to follow. All the descriptions are in the all the links are in the description, and I'll paste in the comment as well. Feel free to grab it there, follow me wherever you want, and don't forget to join the Discord channel. Okay, now let's start. So we started the first episode with Bicep. It's a language. I won't say a programming language, but it's a language to deploy your infrastructure on Azure. You can read it about it. All the notes are available on the Notion as well, with some quizzes and all those things, so feel free to take notes as well. We are improving every day. Okay, there are a few ways to deploy Azure infrastructure, starting from the Azure portal, CLI, PowerShell, Bicep, and Terraform. We are now focusing the way through Bicep. The Bicep is the infrastructure as a code language created by Microsoft itself, and it's heavily maintained, no cost. All the benefits are on this slide. I have already explained in the last 3 videos, but it's a simple language. It's always give you the same result when you're using the same logic, but there's a catch which I'll be explaining in the upcoming video as well. You can preview your changes. You can organize your code in the Bicep. It's super free, no cost. So a lot of companies are always starts with this Bicep, so there is a great opportunity if you want to enter into Azure and more of a Azure engineer. Start with Bicep because it's more adaptable in the industry. All right, Moving to the next slide, we already discussed that whatever resource you are going to deploy, it basically we need to provide in which scope we are going to deploy the we are going to deploy the our resources. So we have 4 scope: tenant, management group, subscription, and resource group. All the logos are present here. So this is tenant, this is management group, this is subscription, this is resource group. One thing to note about here is that not all resources are deployable to all the 4 scopes. So we're going to speak specifically about this in the upcoming later part of the series and upcoming videos as well. So this thing needs to be clear. So don't feel that there is some exception or something, some different behavior you are getting. We have already discussed this thing. Okay, moving to the next chapter, there is a concept of resource provider and resource type. Resource provider is kind of I'll say a team or something very specific who manages specific type of resources only. They are kind of the I don't know, whatever. They are an entity in Azure that do only the specific that takes care of the specific deployment of a specific type of resource. For example, Azure Compute is a provider, Azure Storage is a provider. So these are categories of infrastructure, and under that we have a lot of types of different resources. For example, Azure Compute, as you can see here in the Azure Compute, we have a VM, virtual machine images, we have a disk, we have virtual machine scale set. So these are all are coming under the same provider, which is Azure Compute, right? And this is important because when we are going to talk about the Bicep, Azure providers are assigned a specific type of URL from which you can identify, right? So it's very easy for your overall understanding of the Bicep and how things are organized behind the scenes and around. So this is very important about the providers and types, which we already discussed everything, and we have kind of explain it as well. Now moving is that we started with installing Bicep. So I installed the Azure CLI. Okay, I have done a mistake installing the Bicep CLI, and then I did this. So here is the mistake, guys. I'm gonna fix it in the next slides. I just realized in the 4th episode. Really apologize, but no worries. This series is only for this. We are allowed to do mistake and we'll keep improving in the next upcoming videos. But don't forget to get the latest notes from my Notion page. So all the information, all the correct notes are present, and it's free to use. Just go there and just go to the description and get the notes from there. Okay, so what the correction is that I installed the Azure CLI and not the Bicep CLI. There is no Bicep CLI. I installed first the Azure CLI, which is also called the AZ CLI, and the AZ CLI, after installing that, I have to run the command AZ Bicep install. I will improve this as well. So I did AZ Bicep install to install the thing as well. It's super easy, nothing to remember. You can always check the documentation, but this is what we did in the 2nd episode. So we were able to do that. And now moving, we then started with creating our first resource Bicep file, and where we tried to deploy the resource group. We did that. We used the command AZ deployment subscription, because resource groups are not deployed to the resource group level. Why? Because we have already explained this here that not all resources are deployed to all the scopes. So considering the same thing, we used for our very first type of resource, which is Azure resource group, and we deployed this resource type to this scope, which is the subscription. Okay, now moving to the next thing. Okay, this is the very important thing that we discussed, and it's kind of this is the latest slide which I added after doing the last video. What we did, we understand that there are 2 names. When we are deploying a resource, we come across 2 kinds of names that we have to provide, and it's my suggestions, or I can say the best practice I follow is that I provide both of their name. One is the name is mandatory. You have to provide the name of the resource that you want to see on your Azure for deployment. It could be the name of your resource group in any format, RG, test, whatever you want. But there is also a name called the deployment name. Deployment name is the name which reflects on your deployment history or the deployment settings of your subscription or resource group, right? It's very important for every deployment you generate a new name, right? Why this is important? Because if you are deploying any number of deployments under the same name, only the latest deployment will show you there. There is no way to keep the history of all the deployments that you did. So for example, in a scenario where you messed up a resource in let's say step 1 of the deployment, but you keep on improving and you somehow fixed it, and you did four extra deployments after the first one, then the deployment name under which all the deployments you are doing, only you will see the result of the first one. And this is kind of dangerous because you won't be seeing that what changes you have done. I mean, always there is a way to check it from other references, for example activity history or all those things, but when it comes only to check it from the deployment, which should be more clear, and we should get all the information about our deployment from the name itself. We should do it in that proper way, more organized way. So that's why we should always do the deployment with a unique deployment name. That's the thing which I explained clearly, and which is kind of a best practice I have acquired in my engineering, this learning, right? So now in today's videos, we have already taken 12 hours to revise all the things that we did. If you haven't seen, or if you want to just go in detail, it's gonna be a super quick, not a super quick, obviously it's a 60 minutes video. It's gonna be a 1 hour, but all you need to do is just do it at a 2x if you know other things about as well. But no worries, I have explained everything in detail, so it's gonna be more engaging. And even if you are kind of listening at a normal speed, but okay, go check it out if you want to. So now moving on this topic, which is going to be our main agenda, is that I will show you how to write a bicep file and how the same configuration can be used to deploy a lot of resources by creating a lot of parameter file which eventually will be having different value for the same type of deployment, referencing the same bicep file. I'll give you an example. What we'll be doing is that we will be defining a bicep file. This will be our single bicep file, and this bicep file will be referenced by a lot of parameter file. The parameter P1 file, parameter P2 file, and parameter P3 file. So these all will be referencing the same bicep file, but when we deploying using the Azure CLI in the combination of the bicep file and the parameter file, we will be getting 3 different kind of resources of whatever we are deploying through this, 3 different version, right? We will be getting from that, and that is what is a way to manage your environments, manage your different services. So creating a bicep file based on how you can manage and things, what are the how the organization is set up in your how the Azure is set up in your organization. So considering everything that, you can come up with a design with an architecture which will make your deployment more efficient. If you want to delegate some work to some different team, create a bicep file only for that they can they are allowed to kind of use it, right? I'll explain all these best practices and efficient methods in the upcoming videos, but yeah, this is the thing which we are gonna discuss in this on this today's videos. That's gonna be our agenda. All right, so now let's move to our VS Code where we were doing the things. I just would like to talk about one more thing as a quick revision, which we obviously talked at the end of the last video, and I would like to start from there itself, that there is a concept of location. So location versus name, this is really important. So as you might be knowing that Azure is the resources on Azure are deployed to different regions. R1, these are the example regions name that I'm giving, but for example Canada East, Canada Central, these are different regions, but there is a condition that none of the regions can have a same name. That is really important. So we have to also come up with a naming convention in Bicep, or in general naming convention in your organization, so that you can create more resources and make your infrastructure more reliable and disaster free. So a naming convention, although it looks very kind of a small thing, for example, you can always update it and you can modify it later. It's not that simple, because a lot of things are kind of unique globally resources. So you always have to be very careful, very precautious, and kind of think in long term vision what your naming pattern should be. And this will help you in the long term scalability. Because I have seen in my personal projects as well that if I don't consider the naming convention properly, what happens is that in future I have to get a lot of extra work I have to do just to deploy things and automate things. Automation requires kind of identical features among your project, and for that you need to have a proper naming convention. That is the easiest way for you to come up and deploy things more easily. Although Bicep will be there for you to store your configuration, but the CI/CD part, the deployment part, will be only useful or stress-free, I'll say, or more, you will be more confident about your CI/CD solutions only if you come up and decided a proper naming convention. So take considerable amount of time, consider all the parameters, and decides your naming convention in your organization. I'll give you my tips, what I think, in the end of the video, but yeah, that's is something not, you should consider basically this as well. All right, so how should we use a Bicep parameter file, right? So basically we want to define a Bicep file which can be used by a lot of parameters. So our main will start with only those keywords which, and then we'll take this as an example that I'll pick up one random resource type that I think I can deploy, and I will go through each of the types and I'll take you to the throughout process of writing and defining a Bicep file, right? Okay, just to show you, I hope my screen are visible. I have created a RG means the resource group. Okay, again, a great tip at this point of time is that there is a, okay, I have to open Edge, it's not opening. There is a Azure resource abbreviation documentation. This is also a very important document which I refer every day. Not every day, but it is one of the most useful documentation that I came across in a whole Azure. And what is that is obviously when I'm working with Bicep, right? So for that purpose, this is very important. What it does that it already have defined the abbreviation of all the resources, majority of the resources. Some of the things are not present here as well, but majority of the resources are already been defined with an abbreviation. And this is very useful when you are deciding on naming convention. You can use these pieces as in your naming convention, right? Don't try to come up with a new abbreviation which is not present in this one. Why? Because if you have decided something and in future you are creating a new resource, you are using a new service which looks similar, and you may end up conflicting with that name. So they have pretty much defined the name for a lot of things. Definitely use this one. If something is not in this resource, try to create your own at that time. But what I want to show you here is that resource group. So resource group is having an RG abbreviation, and that is the thing that I used here. So I am creating a standard Bicep file for my organizations which is following the naming conventions and the patterns of the Azure documentation. This is not a required practice, you can name it anything you want based on the teams, based on whatever you want. But this is because I am at this point of time copying all the available properties of this resource for deploying my infrastructure. So that's why I give it RG. But if I have to ever come and distribute the same responsibility to a different group with some limited parameters, that I would be creating more specific, giving it would be more specific names. For example, I would be giving it RG for RG development team, right? RG dev team dot bicep. I would be giving it something, this name, which represents the for which team it would be having the bicep file is for which team, right? I don't need this at this point of time, but yeah, I have created RG bicep here as of now. Let me grab my glasses. I was thinking what I'm missing today, so and my eyes started hurting. Okay, boys and girls and everyone who is watching this video, yeah, let's start by creating and parameterizing our bicep file. The very first property or property that you're gonna use most of the time in bicep is a param property. What does this this is a keyword, right? This is like this, how this is a resource group, this is a target scope. It is the same, a keyword of this language bicep, which means parameter. And the parameter is something which you declare in the beginning of your bicep, so that this parameter can be referenced in the parameter file to provide anything of that value. How to do is very simple. You have to start with the keyword param, and then you can just name what your parameter will be called. So I'm gonna call it resource group name, which is equals to, which will be of type string. I will come up with all the data types available in bicep, but I'm just giving you a general flavor that, obviously, like any other languages, bicep also needs a string to, for example, things like names and values or IP, all those things, these are being used in the string. Now, either you can give it a default value, for example, similar to this as a string. So you have to define a string. Oh, what's happening? No, Siri, I do not want to talk to you. My first resource group, so I gave it like this. So and how this is gonna benefit is that you replaces this from this hard-coded value, which is resource group name. Now every time if you are not providing a resource group name, then it's gonna use this by default, this default name. So either you can provide the value, some value in your parameter file, then it will use that one. Otherwise it will use this resource group name as a default. Similarly, we can do the same thing for the location. And oh my god, how I'm typing parameter resource location, resource group location. So it's very important for you to name in a professional way. Location string and default value, let me give it Canada East, right? Again, this needs to be referenced here, so, and that's how it's only gonna create. Now again, param tags is gonna be an object. So this is another variable, another parameter, another another data type in bicep object, which you can use to assign tags. So how you can do it, you can define the key of the object, environment environment, and you can write it, I think you need to write it as production. And since this is a tag, I can rename it as tags. Now, you are getting a kind of an error warning here, but let's ignore this for the time. It's not gonna stop your deployment, but this is suggesting some suggestions, which we will look at the later time and explain it, and we'll understand it. All right, let me just quickly catch it. It's my I need water to recover my voice. Half an hour is pending. Let me just quickly figure it out what I can teach more. I need to practice long hour speaking sessions as well. Anyhow, this is, we defined everything. So before our bicep file was looking in a different was looking more of a hard-coded value, but now we have given them all variable values, whose variable default value we have defined in this way. But now the best thing is that we will be using this parameter to create different values for different things. Now how to use that in a parameter file is that you have to again call the param, and as soon as you write param, your VS Code is gonna show you what are the parameter file present in this reference kind of bicep file what we are referencing, right? So I'll press enter, and here you do not have to provide the string again, it's just you need to provide the value. So resource group location is gonna be, let's say, Canada East. At this time I'm doing Canada East, with which is kind of Canada, let me do it Canada Central, something different from the default value, so that I can show you that how the default value is coming, or how the kind of the value which is set on the parameter file is coming. Now our next thing is the resource group name. Resource group name we have decided, so I am not gonna provide anything. This is just to show you that resource group is kind of using its default name. And then I am gonna use a tag value where I'll be defining something different. Let's say I define the development, and then there is define the team, which is team cloud engineering team. Now okay, we have defined our parameter files. Now it's time to kind of deploy this thing and see how it's working, or by using, how it's working. So as you might be knowing that for deployment, and we are writing a resource group, and for deploying a resource group we deploy it at the subscription level. So az deployment sub create, it's gonna create a resource which is whose metadata is gonna be at the location, let's say Canada East. Even though we are deploying a resource in the Canada Central, Canada East is gonna be our deployment of the storage of the metadata. I have already explained this thing in the previous video. Our file is gonna be rg.bicep. Our parameter file is gonna be my resource group .cc.bicep parameter file. And as you know, we always do the debug and what if as the deployment, so that we can see the changes. Okay guys, it looks like I'm typing in a very sleepy mode. Let me just fix it and do it. Okay, meanwhile this is running, let me take you to the portal.azure.com so that you guys can see it, how it's deploying. just I'm just authenticating myself. I need to fix this as soon as possible. Let's see. All right. We are already in our environment. Let's see how our deployment is looking. So okay, it's showing that there is gonna be a no change. Why? I think because in the last video we already got deployed this thing in a specific the same name in the specific basically specific location. But I'm thinking why there is not gonna be any change even though we have a kind of different name. So let's see if our tags are gonna get updated or not. What's the issue? Let me now just do it clear. I am expecting that it should make the change. Okay, my bad. Maybe I'm just referencing the wrong file. So I made a change in CE bicep parameter and here it's taking. Okay, so again as I said, I was doing it wrong. So I made CE and let's try it again. So this is gonna show us at least that we are modifying the tags. All right, as you can see that what if is giving us the changes that we can expect once we actually deploy the resource. And here it's saying that there is going to be a modification in the tags.environment and there is going to be a kind of addition of this specific thing. So now, I mean, we are happy with this change. So let's remove the what if to actually deploy the change, and let's see here how things gonna get changed. Okay, bro, hoja. Let's start, bro, start. Okay, this is expected. We did not reviewed this perfectly. So as you know that I skipped one of the environment, which was the resource group, and in the resource group the default value is CE, but the deployment which I am doing is CC, and CC is, I have not defined a unique name for itself, so that's why it's picking the default name, and that name is not, it's already deployed in some different location. So obviously we cannot use this thing. So as a result, we have to provide a different name, which is gonna be the same like this one, but you know, but the mistakes I am doing is that this is a CC file. This is the CC file. I should be doing it here, right? The CC flag should be in the bicep CC parameter. So now let me just update this to CC, and this is gonna be our solution, hopefully. Okay, so hopefully it's deploying. I know it's taking time, so it's deploying. Let's parallelly watch and do a refresh. No changes came yet. Incremental. Okay, so this is a C. We are obviously watching a wrong resource. So let me just go to the the subscription. Then I should go to the resource group, and then the CC resource group, which is here, and it should be having at least a new tag. All right. As you can see that we now got a new tag, and our environment tag also got modified by using the same bicep file which we kind of wrote in a way that it can be used by multiple parameter file by passing their own value. And that's the benefit. This is how you can cover a lot of environments, so that you just have one single source of how to deploy a thing. You have come up with that strategy. You can create multiple variables or multiple parameter files to generate a similar that tone of that parameter, bicep parameter. All right, again. So we have done this setup. Now our next goal ideally should be explore more of the other data types. I think that is the right way to do it, but I haven't made my notes as of now. So I'm gonna go to the bicep official documentation, and I will just make you study from there about all the parameter files present. So quick start, tutorials, concept, data types. I would like to start with the data type. Data type is really important. I don't know why I'm getting this sleep. I have to kind of change my timing, but okay, no worries. I'll push more 20. I think we are just left with 22 minutes. I'm gonna push it. So as you can see, as a quick summary, that in bicep we have these following. I'll just open my annotation. We have these. Okay. We have these type of data types. Any obviously means that you do not need to worry about any of the data types. This can be used there, but again, one thing is that the properties have their own data type, and the ideal expectation is that you provide the value in that specific type only. For example, this is a string with the maximum length and minimum length is provided here, so you should always define that resource, or whatever the parameter you are creating with that specific data type only, because you may, for example, provide write something in int and it's taking only the string value, so it will show the error and not deploy. So any is like, you can decide any of the you do not need to worry about any of the properties. And then we have an array. I'm just gonna open my annotation. We have an array. Obviously array means we can take a look that array is we can provide a list of values in an array that can be accepted in the parameters for this purpose. So we usually use array. So, and then we have booleans. Booleans is like, if you want to do some conditional logic in the bicep parameter file, you can use the boolean kind of parameters, so that you can take the value decided based on the logic, that if it's true or false, and if it's true then do this, if it's false then do this. You can do that in the bicep as well. Then comes the integer. Okay, I'll just quickly pause it here, 19 minutes, and I will be just gonna pause. All right, so I'm back. So we have 20 minutes left, and this is quite of a boring part, to be honest, and I'll say fully enjoying, but this is really important. So I guess we both, you, the audience, and me, have to struggle a bit to understand and go through all the uh, data types present in the bicep file configuration, right? We have talked about any, as usual. We have talked about arrays, we have talked about booleans, we have talked about integers, we have talked about objects, strings. Union is something new that I would like to touch, and the nullable types. And okay, there are two more: secure strings and data type assignability and next steps. So I believe array strings, not the union, but strings up to here, it's quite common and also like kind of logical, how in other programming languages the data types are. So it's exactly the same. You are available to define any random type in any. You are allowed to define list of things in array. You are allowed to do true false here, integer, some numbers here, objects, it's gonna be under this something of brackets. We'll start with objects. String is pretty common, and then we'll see union. So what are the things that we are gonna see is objects, then unions, and rest, and maybe probably beside that whatever the latest comes, but the aboves are pretty common, right? So I do not see any specific thing that I should consider that 64-bit, that's quite thing. Integer literal type, there is nothing to see. For example, when you use PowerShell to deploy bicep, the range is from this. To avoid this limitation, specify large integers values in parameter files. So yeah, we'll do it. Generally I haven't seen any requirement for that, but yeah, we'll do. If we ever have to come out, then there comes a type. In the preceding example, the assign is to bar a value of a type T. Okay, here what it's saying, that type is one type, and we have assigned foo to one type, which is equals to 1, expected to be y type of 1, but the value provided C. So this is basically kind of a validation, how can I say, a validation or logical testing thing behavior here, that you have defined a type, you have created an array, and you have assigned it a value, and then later you are kind of assigning or checking that value, but it's giving an error in the second time because the value of this one type is 1, which we defined here above, right? Then there comes a union of type, where you can define all the three and it comes out to be union. Floating point, binary, decibels, formants are not currently supported for the unions. Okay, we do not need to care about that. Then comes the object. Here in the object, oh my god, I have not continued the timer, so that's gonna be a difficult thing, and it's not create pressure. So 43, so that means we are left with only almost 17 minutes of time. So I'll just cancel this and I will make it, I will start at 16. We can take some liberty, so it's gonna make it that. Okay, so here we are. We can define the objects in this way, and you can use a key, you can assign it a value, and within that same object we can have a key, and the value could be of any types. We are seeing strings. Let me zoom this a bit. Let me zoom this. Let me zoom this. Oh, why is that? How can I zoom it, man? Control. What? You cannot zoom this page. Zoom. Ooh, okay, zoom. I don't know how to zoom it. All right. So here we had this. I'll just put my face over this side. We discussed objects. We were discussing objects. So objects are kind of defined by this this curly braces, and in that object the key and value could be string, could be integer string, could be boolean, could be integer, anything. Then we can test this as well. We can my special dot key, there is some testing way as well that we can do. We can provide a custom value like string here, which is a very good thing, and this is really kind of important and looks more decorative to see few of the things. For example, we can use this way of writing the tagging strategy, and I'll show, because whenever we have to assign a tag where there is a space, then we can use example.value. We can access the property as well, so that is also an important thing, that we can access the property here. ABCDE returns true. This is important, and we can access the property here. So defining things in an object and looping through it is also very nice things, and we are gonna look at all these strategies in the coming lecture, in the next video. Then after this, it comes out to be object related and strings. We know it's pretty simple that you can define strings. If you have to define these basic these are called, I think, special characters, because you have to provide this backslash to let it reflect exactly same on your print. So these are some special characters that there is a certain way. Okay, and then we have a kind of union of different types. So direction, I don't know, I have not seen any example where you have to use this kind of logic. It's not a math, but I have not seen anything like that we can use this thing, especially the majority of the infrastructure that I used, I have not seen these things, to be honest. Then multi-line comments, it's really important to write a good documentation for your Bicep files. Union type could be important to create a specific type of parameters, or a specific type of values that you want to let the user of that Bicep file use that. So where their union type can come. Then custom tagged union type, I think this is important when it comes to defining or writing something about your Bicep, so you can use this thing. So that is really important. And then it comes this secure password and secure. So basically, secure strings and objects uses the same format as string is an object, the same format that with the Bicep we use a secure decorator to string objects when the separate set is used. Isn't saved in the deployment history. Okay, so it's not gonna save in the deployment history. That's the most important thing. I have never used this thing, so probably will take one day to explore this how to use the deployment string, so that we can then maybe in the course we can just write it and provide the same in the course for a small we can, how can I say, we can dedicate this topic a small minutes from that course, right? Data type assignability, so any can be assigned anything except the error. Error cannot assign anything, obviously. String can assign string to any, and numbers can be assigned to number or any. Let me just decrease this board to see everything. Then array can be assigned to only any, resource can be assigned to only any. So resource is also an object. That's a really good thing. Or module scope, any, we can assign it. I'm not sure how we can assign a parameter a module, if that's the thing, because they are saying it as a data type, right? So named resource, named value, all right, my friends. So we are just left with 10 minutes today, and I think we covered a lot. We still haven't come up directly to a parameter file to define it in proper ways, but we just covered important things. I'm gonna go and prepare a good notes on parameter, and I will let you kind of just bring the crux of this specific documentation. Why is because most of the things are pretty common how we use the data types in other programming languages, but since we are dealing with an Azure infrastructure, which is like deploying an infrastructure and not writing an actual programming language, some of the things are more specific to the ways Azure works, and what can we make a data type that can provide efficiency. Although a lot of things does not make sense. I have never used it. I have never used secure because there are other good ways to do it, and obviously I see kind of breaks in the CI/CD pipelines when working with Bicep because of these small things. But based on my experience, you cannot automate fully Azure. which is pretty reasonable because it's eventually, a lot of responsibilities shared between Azure and the customer. So that totally makes sense, and you have to sometimes pre-book a lot of things, make reservations for the resources that are kind of high in demand. So everything cannot just write code and deploy and it will get to you. There's a pricing, billing as well. So it's kind of bit special in a ways. Obviously, Azure might need some unique data types that's why they came up with this documentation, right? But a lot of data types doesn't make sense at all. For example, obviously the east-west logic of union. I mean, I haven't seen any nice use case of using this union, right? Although I remember that there are some different types that you can assign some values. For example, there is a concept of SKU. Although I do not know the full form, but the concept of SKU is that some resources, almost all of the resources, comes with a lot of different pricing plans and different features, and each feature have their own pricing plans. So you a lot of time have to provide those kind of pricing plan, or you can say the type of SKU for during the deployment, and for that you can define what are the list of the things that you can use as a parameter. But for that you can use array, but I never used a union of things, which ended up making my writing Bicep or deploying things on the Bicep productive, with that thing. So what I'll be gonna do is that in the next video I'll be bringing up the crux of all the data types that is present here. The most important one I'll mention specifically, and after that hopefully we will be able to get into writing a parameter file, or maybe the nice and the easiest and interesting way for us to directly use all those things that all the data types and all the variables that we have. Variable is coming up in the next video, but all the things that we learn directly into something that we start deploying and using right away. I do not want to come up with a big lecture and then expect you to remember it to the next 3 or 4 videos and then start using that. So next video is going to be only about using all the data types in a parameter file, and I'll probably be picking up a new resource that I can deploy, and I will look for a resource that is pretty easy to understand and it's very common in Azure. The best I can think of is let's say NSG or route table, because there you do not have to specify a lot of things. It's gonna cover union, not union, but you can cover IPs, you can cover different types. So that is gonna be more interesting, the route table and the NSGs. And we will be deploying those in the Azure using Bicep and Bicep parameter file, and all the logics, all the slides, all the notes, everything that we are going through and preparing, we will be kind of making notes in Notion, and I'll be sharing that in the description below. Right, I do not have anything to explain in this video anymore. It's just I'm waiting to finish my 60 minutes, so I'm just talking some random things. That's all, but I have already explained the next agenda. We have revised everything we covered in this. We tried using Bicep parameter file and deployed a resource using the Bicep parameter file. Then we moved ahead to expand to cover all the different things that we can do the Bicep parameter, and that's how I ended up in understanding the data types. We checked all the data types that were present in Bicep. Some of them are very common, how we studied in different how we learned in different programming languages like C++, C#, JavaScript, Python, right? And a few of the things are very specific to this Azure deployment and Bicep. Some of them I haven't used personally as well, so I am very excited to see the use cases and where I can improve, including those things. And yeah, nothing much. If you guys are liking this series and enjoying the concept, or anyhow interested in Azure cloud at this point of time, so do please check out my YouTube channel, try to join our Discord community, follow me on LinkedIn, X, ask me questions anywhere. I am quietly started engaging in the YouTube community, asking about the next topic I should be explaining about. Obviously, after Azure Bicep, I do not know which one should I pick, because there is Azure is like endless. It's like everything on the internet is kind of present on the Azure. You can do. It's ultimately an infrastructure as well. So something that I would love to explore with you all guys. Some of the things that I am very excited is that Azure Quantum, even though I do not see the direct application of Quantum at this point of time, but would like to spin up a resource Azure Quantum, and let's see how the Quantum can be how the Quantum can be used and deployed, and what we can do, some sort of applications. I'm not sure. So yeah, having said that, I still have 3 minutes. I want to talk about more. So I will just say, if you guys have any questions, you can choose any medium to communicate. You can directly comment out in this specific video. You can join our Discord community. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Blah blah blah. You can keep drinking your water or coffee or whatever you like. I personally am drinking water because I'm feeling sleepy. And yeah, just stay hydrated, keep showing up every day. Press the bell icon, because I'll be coming up with one video every day. Although all the videos, all the entire length cannot be covered with the full content. As you see that I quite ended up little early, but I want to be as much as productive throughout 1 hour. So definitely there was some mistakes in preparing the today's content, but I'll try to make sure that I'll have the entire thing, and it should be in a way that I do not have to talk this much shit at the end for last 10 minutes, and I just be more productive and utilize the time. All right, thank you everyone for again hearing the same thing again and again, but I'm gonna stop at this point of time. See you tomorrow, next day. Have a good one. Bye everyone.